Okay, let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. I'm going to go through the broad markets. We'll look at some individual trade ideas and we'll go ahead and wrap up. Guys, drop me a thumbs up if you're finding value. Drop me a thumbs up if you're making money on these trade ideas. I do appreciate it. It does help the channel grow. And then finally, if you're interested in joining the private member group, I'm posting additional charts, additional trade setups, additional market commentary. Link in the description below on that. $5 a month. You can cancel anytime. So really no commitment there. Check it out if you're interested. Again, link in the description of this video below. Okay, guys, triple Qs. We are continuing to roll over. We've got, basically we've now taken out. We've now taken out this trading range has clearly been taken out. So the bottom of the trading range is now resistance. Okay, we tested it yesterday. You can see they tried to pop it up there yesterday and it failed. And today we're getting, a continuation of the impulsive selling. If I look at the hourly chart, it's almost like a bear flag is kind of playing out. Here's the hourly. You can see here that basically you've got kind of this impulsive leg lower. We flagged out yesterday, and then we're continuing that move lower. So the flag tells us that we're going to go down to about 422-ish, somewhere right in there. That former reaction low as the next level of support. So that's where I think we're heading. Clearly we're not too far away from it now. For that level of support. So from where we're at now, it's basically another, about 1% or so to the downside to hit that next support level. Again, I still think we're heading lower. I still think we're heading down to that 200-day moving average or about 403-ish. So whether we bounce here and get maybe a bounce on this next level of support, I do believe we are heading lower in the next, days to weeks, basically. Could happen quick. We might just slice through support. It's been a very overcrowded trade. Nobody's been bearish. The majority are bullish. The majority are offsides. Everyone thought interest rates were going to fall. Interest rates are rising. The dollar's rising. So now it's time for people to scramble and exit their trades. So if you're short, that's what you want to be. You want to be the minority. You want to be short when no one else is short. And, and we capture a lot of those gains in that manner. So again, this trading range is shot and we're heading down to the next level of support. We're basically getting down to price action levels that we haven't seen since about January of this year. So just about wiping out a big chunk of gains for the year in about three trading days. Okay. Now, the market's not going to break and not going to go too much lower without some of the Mag 7 stocks breaking. So we'll take a look at that. Here's Amazon. This one's on a sell signal. Again, there's your bearish rising wedge. There's your negative divergence. Broke trend. We're continuing lower today. This one's on a sell signal. So I think this one has broken, all right, and should continue lower. Meta. Meta's been strong. It's starting to break today. Here's Meta. You can see on the daily chart. This one has been kind of just grinding up this trend line, but it's been diverging the entire time. Momentum has been dropping every single time we make a new high. It's a divergent high. It does get sold into, but it's been managed to hold this support line. We're starting to crack that today. You can see right there starting to break down. So, if it can hold that breakdown and it sells off even more impulsively, then that's a sell signal in Meta. There is a lower support line right down here, so we could run down and hit that and then maybe get a little bounce off of that. But ultimately, if it's going to bounce, former support should be resistance, which would be this trend line right there. So that's that one. Microsoft continuing to break down. Again, Microsoft was in an upward channel. It broke that channel, and it's starting to roll over. There's a bearish engulfing, and again, we are continuing to sell down. So very likely Microsoft is heading down to the bottom of this range. There's some support right down here at about 398 or so. Google has this upward trend line here. It's now broken. You can see this little upward trend line, and it basically broke, kind of back tested, still failing. Not an impulsive rejection yet on Google. So we'll see. I think Google's kind of tied to NVIDIA in the AI play. So we'll move on to NVIDIA. Here's NVIDIA. To me, it looks like we've got this support shelf. It's basically right in here, and there's a little gap to fill right there as well. So we have this support shelf, and we're continuing to kind of hold that. So we're basically at support right about now. Could go a little lower, but right in that support area. We need to see this break. This stock has to break in order for panic selling to come into play. All right. And again, if we're in the next leg lower in a bear market, or let's say we're just in a correction, if we're in a correction, the bulls aren't going to be panic selling. They're just going to view this as a correction, that makes sense. In the beginning move of a correction, bulls don't exit. They just say, oh, it's just a correction. I'll look to buy the dip. All right. And that's fine. That's how these things start. But typically impulsive legs lower start with no fear and end with a lot of fear. So you're basically going to have no fear in the beginning. People think it's just a correction. So by the dip, as it gets worse and worse, they'll start to panic sell and they'll start to realize they were wrong. And that's the moment in time, typically when we start seeing that panic selling, that as a short seller, you're going to want to look to start to cover your shorts and lock in that profit. Apple. So Apple did have a breakout and it's still back testing. This is the downtrend line, broke out last week, coming in for a back test. So we're still back testing right now. If this holds, then Apple could rally here. So I can't say for sure if it's going to hold or not, but it is at support, basically right now. So watch that one. And then Tesla's pretty much smoked. It continues to roll over. Earnings coming up on Tesla. You do have some bullish divergence on the daily chart. It's decent size bullish divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So I wouldn't want to be short this one into earnings. If you are sure, I think from my perspective, it makes sense to kind of cover. You might see a gap down on earnings and then they rally it up, but you do have bullish divergence. So it's more of a bullish setup than it is bearish. And yeah, this thing has really been sold into pretty good. So there's a gap to fill right down here at 147. So it might want to run down and fill that gap into earnings or just right after earnings, and then could be a buying opportunity. 10-year Treasury yield coming off a little bit today. Okay, sorry, I had a phone call. Treasury yields coming off a little bit. Could be seeing money kind of come out. Well, we are seeing money come out of stocks. And so, they could be rolling that money into bonds, and that would cause interest rates to drop a little bit. So nothing really substantial. I don't see any change here. Gold miners, we are seeing them, they're kind of starting to sell off. We do have this support line right here. And you can see yesterday kind of closed right on it. Today, just slightly below. We'll see what the day closes. They might try to hold that support. Again, I'm not super confident in the price of gold action going higher right now, given that interest rates have climbed quite a bit. We're seeing the dollar rise. So, I do think there's a pullback, and we've seen a pullback in gold and the miners, maybe a little bit more of a pullback. So I'm going to continue to kind of evaluate this one. Visa. Again, Visa broke support the other day. You can see we have a support shelf right in here. And there's your sell signal, or the bearish. That's a bearish engulfing and a break of support. Back testing today, hitting that as resistance. That's an objective area to sell into. Again, I think it's heading lower down to the next level of support and the 200-day moving average, about 254-ish, 255, right in there. So financials look weak to me. SCHW, this one's been kind of moving up this trend line. It's still holding support. You have clean and clear negative divergence, but it is holding support still. We had another reaction the other day. So several reactions to validate that trend line, but a clear bearish setup, all right, with that negative divergence. Maybe something like this, bearish rising wedge, something like that. So if that breaks the trendline support, that's a sell signal. So keep an eye on that one. I think it could happen soon. We'll just keep an eye on it. Home builders, again, nothing's changed. This continues to roll over. Next level of support is about $100, $99.75. So we're just continuing to watch this work its way lower. URI pointed this one out. It is, good sell day, down day today, 3.5%. This one had a uptrend line right here. Broke trend a couple days ago. Nothing but impulsive selling ever since. I see some support right here at about 598.50, 598.66, somewhere right in there is some support. So I think we're going to sell down, get a bounce right around there, and then ultimately work our way down to the 200-day moving average, all right, for the next level of support. BlackRock, again, this one hit some decent support if I roll out yesterday at about 765.56. We're undershooting that just a little bit. So again, probably going to go down and hit the 200, and then I think it could recover. I'm out of this trade right now. Again, shorted it basically at resistance right here. This was a perfect short right there. It dropped about 11, I covered it about 10.5% with a 10.5% gain. Lock that one up. General Motors, bearish rising wedge, negative divergence, breakdown, back test, rolling over. All right, so again, this one should head down to the 200-day moving average. There's a gap to fill right here. That's the target right now. It's about 35.75. Qualcomm pointed this out in the private member group, but again, this one breaking trendline support, sell signal all day long. Next level of support is about 157.65. You can see these reaction highs right here. So that's support. Should get a bounce there. And then continue our way down to the 200-day moving average, currently sitting at about 134.50. Uber continuing lower. Again, broke support and heading down to the next level of support, which is this gap fill right here, down to about 69.59. Again, they might step in a little early before gap fill, but that's support on that one for right now. ANF, Abercrombie, again, this one just marching up this straight upward channel. Built, negative divergence was building for quite a while, and then it broke. So trend has been broken. It's sell the rip ever since. There's a high, lower high, lower high. There's a low, lower low. We are downtrending, and I think that will continue. So minimum target on this one would be the 200-day simple moving average. I do think you'll probably get a bounce there, but I really like this target right here at about $50, $49.50. If I roll out, you can see that's former resistance. So that is where I believe this is heading. I think we'll go straight down to the 200 relatively quickly, get a bounce there, and then ultimately work our way down to that $49.50 target. SHW, again, bearish rising wedge. We broke that wedge, sold down. Again, support's down here, about 294.13 and the 200-day. So you've got a little more downside to go. I think we're probably going to drop another 5 all the way down to 7% more before we find some sort of meaningful support. But again, this trade's continued to work out. From the sell signal, it's down 7-8%. So in general, most of the trade ideas that I've been pointing out for like the last month, they're all profitable. I know because many of them, most of them in my account are profitable. Again, they were red. They were down when you first take trades. Typically, with my trading style, you're not going to be right from day one, but they're all profitable now. So that's mostly what I got. I'm going to go ahead and get the video out there, guys. Drop me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.